He's just curious about the chair. About 10 years ago, I was investigating a robbery at an orphanage. It was Christmas Eve, and some presents had been stolen.
Reach for the sky, dirtbag!
All right, pal, you stolen your last Christmas.
Think you have won, you think all is well, but
Fun
kiss
school
my
to do
green
Simpsons.
ass, I shall see you in hell.
He's dead.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Welcome to Random Movie Roulette, episode 101. We are back after our brief hiatus. Thank you guys so much for joining us, despite the fact that we announced we were going to be covering How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Yeah, I know you all were very excited about Venom, especially after all of the Spider-Man announcements that came out this week.
Right.
It's not going away. We're coming back next week with Venom, and we're going to have Brian from Blood Buddies joining us. It's going to be a blast. In the meantime, let me introduce our new co-hosts, Sunny and Cher, the Furbies, hanging out over there. They're going to be joining us for this entire episode, and they're just going to be keeping us in stitches. They're really smart, intelligent movie critics, and they have a lot of insights and weirdly anti-Semitic things to say about How the Grinch Stole Christmas. So,
honestly, if I was like an alien and I didn't know what humans looked like and I saw the Grinch, I would be like, I would develop some biases against them.
Yeah,
like I would have some racial.
Well, as we all know, the working title for this movie was Who Billy Elegy.
God, you know what's sad is that this is probably a better movie than that.
I mean, it has a higher Rotten Tomatoes score.
Yeah, although after seeing this, I'm like, I'm not so sure. Like, because I remember, like, I've always hated this movie, even as a kid. But, like, having gone back to it again after only having memories of not liking it and actually having to watch it in full, I'm like, wow, this is just unpleasant in every way. And I don't understand the fucking fandom that this has anymore. But also...
so this does have a fandom. That I haven't seen a lot of it, Jackie.
But it's a horrible, stupid, nostalgic fandom for people who can't remember any movie past the year 2000 and were like 5 when they watched this and think it's like somehow a good part of their childhood.
Yeah, this is...
Right. At what point did we all realize this is a dog shit movie? Because I think... watching this as a kid, I was like, this is great. Like, when it came out and I was in the theater, I was like, all the Who's down in Whoville. But, like, there was a certain point where, like, I would be watching this, like, every year. My mother and I, we had a very weird tradition. Every year we would watch, like, a whole bunch of Christmas movies in, like, the span of, like, 8 hours. Like, it was just a thing we did every year, and this would always be part of it. And there was one year where we watched it, and we both, like, looked at each other and were like, what? Why? And we agreed.
This is probably... the first time I've seen it in 15 years, and I think I just know what editing looks like now, and
that'll do it.
No, but
standard things.
I think always for me, I always remember hating this movie. Like, even as, like, a child who had no critical eye whatsoever, I just saw this movie, like, not even just full, just, like, looked at it. I'm like, I hate this. Like, I hated how it looked. It just looked so, like... It's just like, it's just this very mean, dour, like, gross looking movie. And
in its defense, they're pretty clear in the song about the spirit of this movie. He's a mean one.
Yeah, but at least, like, the original cartoon, like, it's still, like, bright and vibrant and has, like, you know, a cute charm to it. This is, like, it's so, like, ugly and, like...
Guys, we have to address something happening in the chat right now.
Yeah, I want to know, because I know people have stories about this movie, and I want to hear all of them.
Also, we want to hear all of your Grinch stories.
Also, I'm very blue. I don't know why.
This is just what you are now. You're a little smart boy.
Dabba-dee-dabba-die, buddy.
I guess without Jack here to absorb all the color, it's...
Okay. So Cody says, Oh, well, Jordan said, at least it's not like the Lorax where people have sexual fantasies about one of the characters, to which Cody said, you don't think the Grinch has its own fetish tab on Pornhub.
Listen.
We have seen it.
No, yeah, remember
We
when
have
we
the
back in the
evidence.
day
This
when
is
we
why
did
we-
porn, like when we watched.
No, hold on. We didn't do porn. We weren't, like, out there, like, trying to...
No,
Mike was dressed as the Grinch. I was Max. Lewis was Cindy Lou Who.
no, Lewis was King
The
Mayor
plates.
of the Whoville.
Yeah, I was Jeffrey Tambor, and I was just screaming at you fucking guys the whole time. I was throwing shit at
You're
you.
right. I wasn't Max. Prince was Max. I was Christine Baranski. Mike was burying his face in my boobs.
Yeah, this is you want to say that like, oh, at least this doesn't have a horny fandom. This movie is
the horniest
disgustingly
movie. Yeah.
horny.
Horny.
You know
When
what, guys?
they-
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
let-
Before we get any further, we should just play
watch
the
the
trailer.
1 minute trailer.
Yeah, here's
Yeah.
the teaser trailer from Ron Howard's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. God, look at how terrified the Furbies are right
You're the.
The Grinch!
Jim Carrey is the Grinch.
Guys, it had an AOL keyword.
The
The Grinch!
Oh my god,
Oh
that
my
scared the piss out of me.
Okay,
this light isn't on. That might
question
be
though,
why.
which is worse? I've never seen the latter movie I'm going to mention here, but this or The Cat in the Hat?
I will say that this movie is. This is certainly like on a, I guess, technical quality. It is a better made movie than The Cat in the Hat, but The Cat in the Hat is like so aggressively terrible, like even more so than this is, that it loops back around to being
Yeah.
like so good.
It
that
also
it's bad.
seems to be the least bit self-aware. Do you know what I mean?
I
Like-
guess in some ways, like this movie tries to act self-aware in some scenes where it's like they're making some types of jokes where it's like I don't know if it's like self-awareness about like its own property, but like there's a lot of sexual innuendos in this movie, and there's like
So I was doing research last night. Apparently, when they bought this from Dr. Seuss's widow, she rejected the script like numerous times because there was too much sex stuff.
yeah.
This is the
And
toned
they
down
also-
version?
This is like the
They
Scooby-Doo
also-
movie that James Gunn wanted to make.
They also had the Cat in the Hat was going to be dead and stuffed on the Grinch's wall.
Okay, that's awesome. That's so cool. I'm all about that.
Yeah, because I was looking at some trivia. There are some like references to other Dr. Seuss stuff. Like when he sucks up a giant fishbowl, it's like, oh, that's a Cat in the Hat thing. Or like there's a scene where
And it is
a
it is
fishbowl?
all
That's-
a shared universe, kind of.
Well, there was that animated movie that was like the Cat in the Hat gets Grinched or some bullshit. I don't know.
I
if you've
mean,
ever...
there's Seussical. That's, you know.
What is that? I've never even.
I mean, it was like
So it's basically a musical based around Horton Hears a Who, but essentially it acknowledges that all of Dr. Seuss's Who stories take place on the same dust speck, snowflake, whatever.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's one. Okay, here's the thing I need to know. So the Whoville takes place in the middle of this like snowflake. So what happens when the snowflake melts? Does this whole civilization?
It turns into a dust speck.
That's what I thought. So this whole
Yeah, in summer it's a
civilization,
dust speck, in winter it's a snowflake.
this whole civilization though, like begins and ends within the time it takes the snowflake, I think, to hit the ground. Right. So this whole movie probably takes place over the course of like 2 seconds in our time.
But
Also,
I mean, it's
sorry, continue.
no, sorry. It's established, I think, at some point that like the Whoville in Horton Hears a Who is the same one that the Grinch robbed. So
Wait, really?
yeah,
Wait. Established in what?
I guess in the Horton Hears a Who animated
in
movie.
Seussical, and I'm sure in the animated movie. I mean, I'm sure all these Illumination movies are
Is-
supposed to be the same thing. I'm sure the Lorax takes place in.
So Jordan in the
Grinch.
chat is saying that Seussical is actually all right. So I'm kind of curious.
No,
To
I mean,
check
I know
that out.
it's like
It's
I know it's
The
like
Avengers Endgame of Dr. Seuss.
yeah. No, I mean, I know that it has, like, I don't know if it won, like, Tonys or anything, but I've seen, like, high schools that perform it a lot when I was in high school, so, like, I imagine that it's, like, I guess, somewhat popular. But you know what was also weird? I went on Hulu today, and on the front page is just a big advertisement for the Grinch musical by NBC, and I was...
The fucker from Glee's,
we were halfway tempted
Grinch.
to watch it
The
as we
Grinch.
research, but...
Oh my god, wait. So Matthew Morrison, who played Will Schuester on Glee, is the Grinch. And in an interview, do you know what he said inspired his performance?
Jim
What?
Carrey movie?
No, Joaquin Phoenix as Joker.
Oh my god.
I swear to God.
We're already
I mean,
seeing
I
the
was
ripple effects
watching
happening.
this and just thinking, what would it have been like if Jim Carrey played the Joker? And then I remembered he played the Riddler, which was basically them just doing
The
the
Joker,
Joker and
yeah.
Riddler paint.
And I liked him.
I mean, the one thing I will say, the only thing this movie has going for it, as every review stated, is his performance.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was, someone said, like, no one has ever done more for a movie to get this little of an effect to make it better.
No, yeah, and I will say that, like, the makeup effects on the Grinch look good. The
Yeah.
Are
makeup
good.
effects
on the Who's, they're
on everyone
terrifying.
else, it is horrifying. Like, where did they come up with this idea to give them all tiny noses? Like,
Well,
like-
they look like that in the book.
Okay,
I know,
Yeah, but
they
like
don't-
we should have drawn a line. Like,
they
like
didn't-
this was
I
not
mean,
cool.
yes.
they did, yeah, but
And also, they don't all fucking have it. And what the fuck is that?
yeah, because
So I guess women don't get it. And
No,
yet they
women
talk about
certainly
how
do.
Molly
Cindy
fucking
hasn't
Shannon
gotten it.
has it.
yeah, except for
But it's only a little bit.
Yeah, the
Christine
only one who
Baranski
doesn't-
need it.
the only adult person who doesn't look like they have a full-on who knows is Christine Baranski, and I think it's because they want to sell her as being the
Yeah,
hot one.
we all
Well,
need
and
to
because
wanna
her
fuck
nose is already a little upturned and stuff.
Yeah, like it's only like slightly smaller than a
She
normal
has a little
human's
Kevin
look.
Bacon
So,
nose.
but no, but like I also think it's like just because it looked like that in the book, it's like, but the book they're just like little tiny, they're little illustrations. They're not meant to like look accurate, and I don't think that was.
And like their clothes are parts of their skin and stuff. It's the book is it's a
Yeah.
book.
Yeah,
It's a
I know,
picture
but
book.
also the other thing is that like, because in, I was gonna say the Jim Carrey's performance in this movie, it is technically like it is enjoyable in some aspects, like how he just like is riffing nonstop and he's just like doing a voice, but like. There's a point where it's like this movie he just does not shut up. Like he's just like mugging into the camera and making
Yeah.
faces and like the movie's just constant noise. It's like, to quote the Grinch, the noise. That's what this movie is.
Yeah, there's long stretches of just like bullshit.
Yeah,
like
like-
at least like 4 or 5 minutes of just like Jim Carrey going like fucking Adam Sandlering the whole thing.
Yeah, anytime he's with Cindy Lou Who, except for when he's pretending to be Santa Claus, it's not very good.
Oh,
I will say,
sorry, continue.
what were you saying? I will say this is another thing that I saw someone said, and I'm like, okay, it kind of does. His turnaround, at least, I mean, obviously they had to extend this to be an hour and a half movie. His turnaround to being like a good person and stuff, and like understanding his depression or whatever, is at least the tiniest bit effective, I would say.
I'd say tiniest bit.
I mean, here's the thing, because like the movie like sets up this whole backstory motivation for why he hates Christmas, and it goes back to when he was a child in school and how he got made fun of, and how Christine Baranski rejected, or she didn't even reject him; they just made fun of him.
yeah, and also, can I say, a
Yeah.
miracle he wasn't bullied worse.
Yeah.
Like kids today, if a green furry kid walked into a school, oh my god, that kid would have
I
killed
mean, they
himself by the
probably
time
did,
like third
but
period
yes.
rolled around.
Yeah. Also, sad thing about the kid who played the kid Grinch. I didn't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he just looked like that. He was 18 when they shot that shit. And I think he died 2 years later.
Yeah,
So,
it looked
sad.
Yeah.
No way.
But anyway, the thing about
Fun stuff.
so I had always assumed, or I thought it was part of like the Grinch lore or something, that like the Grinch, the reason why he's green and furry like that is because like he's a corrupted who, like he's so mean and like his heart is so made of coal that like he
Whoa.
yeah.
What aggressive extrapolation on your part of the fucking nothing we get of the Grinch's backstory in the like 8-page book.
No,
you were just like, he's
I thought that was
he's like,
No, I thought that was the idea. I thought that's why he's green and ugly.
He's like a
but
who that
but
survived
it's like,
an abortion.
Well, and
but it's like, no,
apparently
he
he
just
wasn't
looks like
even-
that. He was born that way.
Apparently, he wasn't even green in the book, but they colored him green in the TV special by mistake or whatever reason.
He was
And
gray
then
in
it
the
just
book.
became so popular that it was like, okay, so now we just know he's not even one of them. He's something else, which I like better. I would say.
Yeah,
I think it's
he's
weird
just like a
that hating
monster who lives
Christmas
on a
turns
mountain.
you green.
I don't.
Raised by lesbians.
Yeah.
Raised by lesbians, who Jeffrey Tambor affectionately refers to as the biddies, which is I don't know.
Slutty lesbians, slutty alcoholic lesbians.
There's so many like moments and like word choices in this movie that just like left me being like, who is the intended who? All the who's down in Whoville? Like, what was the intended audience of this fucking movie? Like, also, I did feel weird saying the word who in any situation for like an hour after I watched it.
Yeah, and then but also it's like there's also the weird section of the movie where I was like, why did this just become like a true crime documentary for no reason? When Cindy Lou Who is going around interviewing everybody about the Grinch's backstory, and they're like, some say that he came from the highest point of the mountain or whatever, and then like,
Yeah, they give him like Michael Myers type shit where they're like, he's made of.
it's like
pure
he was
evil.
born bad.
Fucking Donald Pleasance crawls out of a trash can. It's just like-
John Carpenter's The Grinch is truly
Oh.
something.
Please.
No, this whole movie we were waiting for him to like snap and murder somebody. Like when they go to like the Festival of Fools or whatever they had in this movie, where it's like when they're like
He's
shoving
the
shit in his
cheermeister.
Yeah, when
Right.
they like shoving shit in his face and he has like the razor, I was like, he's gonna slit someone's throat with that razor.
Well, there's like a part where he has a voicemail and he's like, let's check the outgoing. And he's like, if you want to leave a message, I will hunt you down and gut you like a fish. If you'd like to fax me, press 5.
There are like genuine laughs in this. I
If
forgot
there's
what.
any genuine laughs, he improvised.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you said the line where he was like, "Oh, dinner with myself at 6:30. I can't reschedule that again." Like,
No, it wasn't. It was in that same bit, but when he said he was like looking at his schedule and he was like, "Solve world hunger, tell no one." I genuinely laughed at that. I thought that was really
There's
funny.
also a moment, I think, where I got my first genuine laugh. It's when he like goes down in disguise and he's like wearing the mask. And the boys say like, it was the Grinch, and everyone's like, the Grinch, and he's like, what do you want? And he's like, oh, I mean, the Grinch, oh no. And I was just like, okay, that's a good one.
yeah, I think my only real laugh was the moment when he's like sitting in his lair and he's like yelling at the caves and the echoes, and he's like, "I'm an idiot," and then it yells back, "You're an idiot."
Yeah, and then like 5 minutes later, it yells, "You're an idiot" again.
Yeah.
Good bit. Yeah,
And then
there's
he
stuff
gets
in there.
depressed
like-
and curls up.
But yes, I feel like there's a lot of like those improvised moments of dialogue and stuff, and like I feel like a lot of that has been like rebranded to like quirky millennial humor, where it's like the moments of like the Grinch just like sitting around, he's like, "Oh, I'm so fat and ugly," and then Tumblr girls are like, "Lol, that's me," and then they
Yeah.
think that the movie's good because of that.
Yeah, I was so upset the whole time I was watching this. Like I was so not into it.
No.
I got physically ill at some point. I was legitimately like
It
nauseous.
is a lot to handle at once. And I remember I was talking to my sister about this, and I was like, "Yeah, this movie sucks." She's like, I mean, like, I don't think it's that bad. I mean, like, I don't think it needed to be like 3 hours or anything like that. And I'm like, it's only like an hour 40 minutes. It feels like
feels like
this movie
3
feels
hours.
like it's forever. And I think it's because. And it's not that, like, you can't make adaptations out of things that are, like, shorter form. Like, you can make, like, 3-hour movies out of Stephen King short stories, and it works fine. Or even, like, oh, fuck.
Ignore
Lewis.
it. We're just gonna move on.
Yeah. Or even, like, other, like, children's books being adapted into feature films, like Where the Wild Things Are, or Fantastic Mr. Fox. And you can make good movies out of those. It's just that, like, the story of the Grinch is just, like, he steals Christmas, and then he realizes, oh, maybe Christmas is a little bit more, and then he gives everybody their presents back. There's really not that much you can make a feature film out of. I don't know how they did with the Illumination movie. I haven't seen that. But
I do have to say the other thing that I did like was when I was reading about like buying the rights to this, Dr. Seuss's Widow, one of the clauses in the thing was like, the actor to play the Grinch must be of comparable stature to Jim Carrey, Jack Nicholson, Dustin Hoffman, or like Bill Murray or some other person that I don't remember. But it's like, there was almost a version of this where Jack Nicholson played the Grinch, and that would be even more terrifying.
Yeah, that would be the version of the movie that does not get released. Like, we would that would have never seen the light of day. That would have been fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Guys, Sonny and Cher also have a few words to say about this. Let's see what they think.
Ooh, whoa. People, like, dreaming, right?
Yeah, man, totally. All right, thanks for that.
Jeez.
If you don't like this bit, I don't care. It's gonna happen again. Just a fair warning. I'll never stop.
Monster.
I'll never stop until we have Furbies in the studio, because this has been a dream of mine since we started this podcast. I've dreamt about replacing you two with Furbies every day since episode 1.
We should do a bit where it's all of us as Furbies, and off screen we just provide the voices, but we can only speak when their mouths move.
Oh, we should totally do that.
Thoughts? Yeah.
Yeah.
If only there was a Furby movie the way there was a Trolls movie, an Angry Birds movie, an Emoji movie. DreamWorks, I'm just saying, in that Illumination, you guys do this B-level shit. Come on.
Jordan in
Sony.
the chat just said Lewis changed it to the Grinch just so he could do this Furby bit, which is not above
true.
me, but not what
I changed
happened.
it to the Grinch. But,
Yes, you are responsible for this, you
yes,
monster.
because, yeah. But, because I just love this movie. Dear God.
How could you not?
Yeah, because
Help us.
you, Jack, you were the one who was like pushing this as like the holiday movie that we were doing.
I just know that we loved that Grinch porn so much. And this movie is just notoriously gross and disgusting. Like, how can we not have things to say about this?
Now, this is
It's-
definitely on brand for us, so I feel like
Yeah.
it is a good. It was a good Christmas pick. But I also
Yeah.
think I was like watching this movie and then comparing it to like mentally comparing it to that Grinch porn. I was like, we were like maybe like one dildo away from this like being exactly the same, like
Yeah.
looking exactly the same, like.
One weirdly flesh-colored
Because we
penis.
even said, even in that Grinch porno, they do the fucking who knowses.
Yes, that's the worst part of all of it. They look more hooey in the porn. Like, it's
Hooey.
Hooey.
It's
Was
disgusting.
Eternal Sunshine his next movie after this?
Oh,
or
it
was
couldn't
it
have
Bruce
been.
Almighty?
Bruce
I feel
Almighty
like it
was
was Bruce
definitely
Almighty.
before this. But also
No, dude, Bruce Almighty was way after this.
Yeah, after. Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry.
Come on. Get it
But yeah,
together.
let's see what was around this time for him, because I think it was after Man on the Moon was the movie that he did before this, and I think that like they courted him on the set of Man on the Moon while he was like deep in character as Andy Kaufman, and they were like, "That's great for the Grinch. We gotta get." But
In
yeah,
the
no,
meantime, some commentary from the Furbies.
yeah.
Of course, they stop.
You. Oh, stop it.
Yeah, no,
Oh.
I think it's really derivative.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
right.
Was he trying to parody a specific director when he's trying to give Max reindeer
Oh, it's
directions?
Ron Howard. It's definitely
It
Ron
was
Howard.
Ron Howard?
He has the
Okay.
hat and like.
But I
Yeah.
thought the hat was like very much. It's also like a Michael Moore and a Spielberg thing, so I
mhm.
wasn't sure. And a Louis Otero thing.
Let's face it. By the way, wearing the Evil Dead hat in honor of the fucking announcement of an Evil Dead game on the Game Awards tonight, I almost pissed myself.
Starring Jim Carrey as
Is that why your
Ash.
pants are wet right now?
That's why they're wet, not the wine I just spilled all over myself. And I'm just sitting in it, baby.
Speaking of games, there was a Grinch game for PS1 that came out around the time of this movie.
Okay. This was the second. This is the second PlayStation game I ever got, which means it's the second like video game I ever owned in general. This did come out like to tie in with the release of the movie. I always loved the Grinch, like How the Grinch Stole Christmas is just like always one of my favorite things. I love that character, even though he's a piece of shit. And I was so excited when it came out. I got it for Christmas one year, and wow, one of the worst things I've ever played. It like so on par with this fucking movie. Like it's exactly as good as this movie. It is impossible. I never got out of the level where he goes down to Whoville in the fake Who disguise because it's so fucking difficult. It barely works. And yes, one of your options of like attack is a burp. a gross Grinch burp.
You know what else is great about this is that we said like, oh, they had this game, and you were like, what came out after this? It was the Majestic, then Bruce Almighty, and then in 2004 was Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. But that same year was A Series of Unfortunate Events, where he played Count Olaf, and that also had a tie-in video game.
And that's another movie he carried on his fucking back.
Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, I haven't watched the series on Netflix.
I like him better than Neil Patrick Harris as Count Olaf.
Mm-hmm. Big time. I don't think Neil Patrick Harris is bad, but it totally takes the sinisterness out of the character. Like, Jim Carrey was still, like, he was really funny and, like, enjoyable for children, and then also, like, terrifying. I think he really nails it.
Yeah, he was terrifying in this movie when he went,
He wants you to combat
Grinch.
depression in a healthy way, but he also wants to steal your vaccines.
Yeah. Him and his stupid fucking wife are out there just...
Ex-wife.
Oh, ex-wife? They broke up?
Yeah.
But he's like, I'm gonna keep... In the divorce, I'm keeping our stupid anti-vax.
It's like the
no,
Grinch.
they're
the
still
Grinch,
very good friends.
yeah, the
about
Grinch
it.
eats glass bottles, but he doesn't take vaccines.
Which, fun fact about that, Jim Carrey just does that, and Ron Howard was rolling, and like they just happen to catch it on film. He eats glass all the time.
Yeah, you know what? That's another thing about this movie why I was like so repulsed by it, because he does so much gross shit. Like he eats glass. There's the part in the song where he's like, "You have termites in your smile," and then they zoom in on his teeth, and the fucking bugs crawling on his fucking. I always always just saw this movie, and he's like living in garbage and eating garbage.
Like I don't get. Like I understand what they're trying to convey here. There's the scene. He lays in his recliner chair. He takes off his socks. He throws them, and then the socks like inch away. Is the idea that like they smell so bad that they gain sentience and
I think that like his feet are so bad, like they can't wait to get away from him.
Okay. Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
But then but I think it's also because I think because of like the overexposure that I had of this movie as a kid, I think that it might have communicated something to me where it's just like I just thought that I didn't like the Grinch like as a character or as a property, because like the Grinch, the original animated thing, was never really like a childhood Christmas tradition of mine. Like I wouldn't really ever watch it that much. Like only recently like came around on it, but I think it was like as a kid I was just like I was so reinforced to like hating the Grinch as an idea, as a character, and I think it's because of this movie. It made me think that I didn't like the original, and I think that that's a really terrible side of quality for like a thing that is being adapted. If it makes you think that the original thing is bad,
yeah, that's a fair assessment, I think. I mean, look,
Does his voice in this movie work for you?
The narrator.
No, I think he's taking
Jim Carrey's voice.
Oh, yeah, it's fine. I mean, whatever. It's just Jim Carrey's voice.
But I mean, like, it is so easy to do the Jim Carrey Grinch voice. He's just like, I'm the Grinch.
Yeah, you just talk without...
talk
without your lips.
He's Al Pacino in Dick Tracy. He's like, I'm the hose down in Hoville. Hoa.
Why would you bring that up here?
Speaking of Dick Tracy, speaking of Dick Tracy and Al Pacino and the makeup effects, this is another movie won the best makeup effects at the Oscars. Probably the worst winner since Dick Tracy.
I'm sorry, Jim Carrey should have gotten an award for just surviving the makeup effects. Yeah. Like, holy shit. Like, if you really look, like, the contacts that he put in, the yellow contacts, apparently, like, caused him to be in searing pain whenever he was on camera. So, like, they would only be able to, like, shoot for, like, I think, like, 2 minutes at a time or something like that. Because, like, I mean, they were hard contacts, which you're not supposed to have in your fucking eyes.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't realize.
I didn't understand how he could even see.
Yeah,
he couldn't. I don't think he could.
Yeah, I also don't understand why they didn't, like, after Jim Carrey was like, these hurt and I can't see out of them. They didn't just be like, oh wait, let's try a different method of contact lenses.
Yeah,
or
like maybe they don't need to be bright yellow.
This isn't like the Wizard of Oz in the 1930s where it's like, oh, this is all we had. Like we have 2000s technology.
Yeah, if it's like we're gonna shrink down
Furbies.
little Who's so they can come out of freaking horns, it's like, can't you just color his eyes yellow digitally?
Yeah, you would think. I mean, I can see how that's challenging. Like any type of motion tracking that's that small is probably really difficult to do.
But if you're
throughout
freaking Ron Howard and you have like all this shit at your
you have
disposal.
the budget to make the movie the way it looks now, like the sets and all this.
Far be it from me to fucking defend Ron Howard in any capacity. We were talking before this. I don't know of a Ron Howard movie that I enjoy. I think Beautiful Mind is okay. Let us know in the chat. Is there Ron Howard movies you like?
And please don't say Solo.
Yeah, because we will ban you. I'm kidding. We won't do that. There's like 4 of you. We need all of you.
Yeah. But I was like, I think Frost Nixon is like a genuinely good movie,
And I haven't seen it. Jordan says Cocoon, Apollo 13. Haven't seen either.
Apollo
of those.
13 is like, I think, fine.
I guess Apollo 13's his only acclaimed one. That
Is that one about
universally
aliens?
No.
no,
I
it's
don't
about
care.
not even Neil Armstrong. It's about a rocket that almost didn't make it back, as Tom Hanks. So therefore, it wins.
Oh, okay.
They
That
win.
adds up. He is the male Meryl Streep.
Yeah, apparently Tom Hanks was one of the actors in the running to play the Grinch.
I
And
can see that.
I could not imagine that.
I
Honestly.
can
I
totally
couldn't
see it.
either.
I think Tom Hanks is fucking hysterical. I think his comedic chops are super there. Probably
I
not so
think
much
Tom
anymore.
Hanks would have been a better mayor. I would have liked to see Tom Hanks as a bad guy.
Could you imagine
Yeah.
Tom Hanks just being like, ha 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 ha, I'm the Grinch. Oh, this is a Reddit moment. All aboard the Polar Express. Do you think that's why he
remember,
did the Polar
he did-
Express?
but
You think he
we
did the
talked
Polar
about
Express
how
because he
Zemeckis
missed out on
and
that Grinch
That
money?
might be the only Christmas movie worse than this one.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
That will
we
be
talked
next
about-
year's Christmas episode.
I think every year it's a challenge. It's like, all right, let's see how far I could get into the Polar Express before I just turn it off out of sheer boredom and fear.
I will say, we were talking about how Zemeckis and Ron Howard are basically the same directors. I will say that Zemeckis at least has like Back to the Future and Roger Rabbit to his credits.
Yeah, two
whereas
all-timers.
We can't
Yeah.
name a single thing that we like about
Ron Howard has Cocoon and Apollo 13,
Little
2 movies I
Ronnie
have no
Howard.
desire to see.
Yeah.
Okay, look. So I want to point out the poster we chose for this because we found the ugliest poster possible. And if you notice the color correction on this, like, it looks like horribly photoshopped. It's really, really disgusting. If you're just
This
listening
looks like
to
a
this,
Redbox poster.
No,
it
yeah.
does.
I think
Yeah,
this was.
if it was a direct to
Direct-to-DVD.
Redbox movie,
Yeah.
this would be the poster.
I feel like you could just put a Hallmark thing on it and just put like Christine Baranski behind him, and then it'll feel like a Hallmark movie.
Yeah, like
Put him in a
wrapping her
sweater,
arms
do it
around
like
him.
Or like with her like crossed arms and her like back to him, like
Yeah, but she's like pushing her tits out because that's the tone of this whole movie.
The freaking Justice League moment of him face planting in her tits.
yeah, we were.
Tony
this is
and
a,
Emmy
this is a
winning
movie
award
for children.
actress.
Like, listen, I can understand like slipping by some innuendos and dialogue and stuff and thinking you can get away with it.
It's like
But-
every 5 seconds in this
Yeah.
fucking movie.
But like literally having him like face deep into her tits
Yeah.
is like in the middle of town square. Like
And who
a
thought
rape
we
took
would-
place on Christmas Eve in Whoville. Like
There's one joke that I don't understand in this movie, and it's so stupid. It's when the babies are coming down and one baby lands on this guy's doorstep, and he's like, honey, it's a baby. He looks like your boss.
Yeah, okay.
It's like-
Let's talk about the mechanics of this shit because they make very clear that babies are just like fall from the sky like fucking rain, okay? But they still have to fuck to make the baby in the
decide.
sky because they make that joke about like it looks like your boss, which they wouldn't make if they
Do
weren't
they
fucking.
have to like jizz into an envelope and mail it to the baby factory, and then it just gets like dropped from a Who blimp?
You have to combine your juices and then put it in a vial and mail it to to whatever. It's so gross.
Also, if Mark is in the chat, I want him to tell his story about the Grinch because he teased in Discord that he has a traumatizing story about the
Oh.
Grinch, and I want to hear about it
Yeah.
because
Mark, however long it is, I will read the whole thing. Start fucking I really want to know too. I was vaguely disturbed by this, although there was also like again, I did like the movie. So I had Christmas ornaments growing up. We did have a little discussion on our Patreon Discord about our favorite Christmas ornaments. Mine were the Burger King Cat in the Hat tie-in ornaments. There was like Thing 1 and Thing 2 and like the Cat in the Hat, and
Yeah.
they looked like the book art. It wasn't
Yeah.
the horrifying Mike Myers movie art. And then there was also a Wendy's ornament of a tie-in for the Grinch of the Grinch in a sleigh with his big thing. So if you're wondering why I'm so fucking fat, it's Dr. Seuss's fault.
oh,
I was
but
gonna say,
Gr-
be
but-
more poor, Lewis.
Yeah, but
My
yeah, you loved
ornaments
horror.
came from
Yeah,
Wendy's and Burger King.
but Lewis, I also now that you mention it, I have a Christmas gift for you because you mentioned the Burger King Seuss ornaments, and I have an offering for you for your Christmas tree. Here you go. Merry Christmas. And
Mike, oh my god. Guys. I'm not
What
even.
is
Thank
it?
you so much.
No,
I love this.
I had 2 of them on my tree at home. I was like, you know what? You brought it up. I was like, you know what? I should give one to Louis. He has a very boring tree with just ball ornaments. He deserves one.
Me and my wife just got our first Christmas tree and our first pack of generic garbage ornaments. So this is beautiful. I will take such good care of this.
Yes, I'm glad
that
because I still have these from when I was a kid.
Yes.
It's 2 of the thing ones, so I had 2 of them. I was like, you know what? It'll be a good thing on the show I'll bring up. But yeah, but it looks like there's a lot of text in there. Is that his story?
Yeah. Let's read Mark H's response here. This movie scarred me for years due to that the Grinch shot in that every Christmas Eve for I want to say 5 to 6 years I had a recurring nightmare of me getting walked down a hallway by my dad, and I see the Grinch down the hall walking around left and right in an evil, slimy way, and I would be screaming to have my dad to please stop. I eventually grew to resent the nightmare, so on one Christmas Eve, I was ready for it. Ready to full-on lucid dream and take on the Grinch. And of course, that was the year that this nightmare spell came to an end. So there's my story.
That's awesome.
God.
Like you dream training to fight the Grinch.
You were Nightmare on Elm Street 3
to fight the
Dreams
Grinch,
Warrior.
like Joe from Family Guy to fight the Grinch. You know what's
Well,
funny?
let's see how it ended up for Joe.
Yeah.
Not so fucking good.
You know what's funny? There's a later season episode of Family Guy where it's like they found the real criminal that crippled Joe, and then Quagmire's like, "Wait a minute, I thought you lost your legs in a fight with the Grinch," and he's like, "No, I just made that up."
That's right. They completely retcon that, which the perfect way to do it too. It's just being like, I lied. Sorry. All right. Guys, do we have more thoughts here on the Grinch?
Oh, but we have to talk about our favorite song of the movie.
Oh, I was hoping we could get through this without bringing it up.
Where
are you, Christmas? It's
what
like,
I hate is that this became an actual song.
No,
I
it
hear this
started
on
out
the
as an
radio.
actual song. I remember the goddamn music video playing on Nickelodeon. I hate it.
No, yeah, but it's like it comes out of nowhere in this movie because it's like this is not a musical other than the 2 other songs from the original that are like kind of like non-diegetically placed in the movie. But
yeah,
we're gonna have a character just sing a musical song for no reason, and it's this little girl, and bless her heart, but like she's not hitting these songs.
She sucks.
And you know
But
what's
also-
even worse? I guarantee you that's in the NBC musical.
Oh God.
Oh
yeah.
no.
No, but the other thing, and I could say this about her because she's a fully grown adult now, but the actress who played Cindy Lou, who grew up to be a fucking smoke show.
Yeah,
like
Taylor Momsen of the Pretty Reckless is a very attractive woman.
Well, I will just say that Jim Carrey at this age absolutely gets me also.
Would you? All right.
in the Grinch costume.
Let's play a little
no.
game
Like,
here.
Liar, liar, Jim Carrey. I would.
Jim Carrey is
Go
the
for
Grinch.
it.
In this scenario, Jim Carrey's Grinch is a living being. What is the dollar amount it would cost for you to eat the Grinch's ass? Also, chat, I want you to play along too. Please throw those numbers down there in the description.
I guess the way that I'm thinking about it is that like
I
He's
even
just a
know how it would taste. Like a sauerkraut and toadstool sandwich with arsenic sauce.
there's also that
but digested.
There's also that horrible scene where he puts the mistletoe to his ass and he's like, "Kiss it, Whoville!" I'm like, this is in this movie. This is vile and disgusting. Also, we noted that when they make him like the chairmeister of Christmas, and then he comes down and then he just destroys the town. It's like, why does he need to steal Christmas after this? He already like destroyed the town, caused many explosions. It's like
Because remember, they put the tree back up, and he's just like, they're relentless.
No, yeah, exactly. That's the other thing is that like in the Grinch story, when the Grinch steals Christmas, and then the Who's are still singing and celebrating Christmas, and he's like, "Oh, I couldn't steal Christmas from them," and that's the moral of the thing. And this, after he destroys the town, and the Who's just go back to living their lives, he's like, "I gotta stop them," and then he steals Christmas, and then they're still celebrating Christmas, and then that's what makes him realize that, oh, I couldn't steal Christmas from them because it's about family and stuff. Why didn't he come to that conclusion after he literally blew up the town, like caused a fire in Times Square, like?
Well, because the mayor was doing it and forcing everyone to do it, and he's the bad guy.
No. The real reason is because they needed to hit a 90-minute runtime.
I mean, also.
But yeah, I mean, at that point, like, talk about insult to injury. Like you destroy their whole town, and then you're like, you know what? I'm also gonna take this away from them. Also, how is that not worse? Like what you did was obviously worse than just like stealing their Christmas presents. You like burned down like landmarks. You fucking like hit people with a dirt bike.
You like stole cars and like crashed them, and then
you scratched a car with your fucking
fingertip, I guess.
Your furry fingertip.
Yeah. Oh, also, there's also that weird subplot where the mayor wants to propose to Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene, who, and then like she's like at the end of the movie she rejects it and she's like, my heart belongs to someone else. Yes. And so she wants to fuck the Grinch. Why is
she's
this
wanted
happening?
to fuck the Grinch also since like childhood. That was very clear.
Oh my god.
There's that line when they're kids and she's like, "I love Christmas. I love all the Christmas colors like red and green."
Yeah, and then she does like one of these and like caresses his face, and then you just see her hand go lower, and you're like, I know your finger's in his butt right now. I fucking know it. No, okay. We do have some responses as far as the how much would it cost to eat the Grinch's ass, which you guys have not answered, by the way. Mike and Jack, get your answers ready. Cody says if you pay off his student loans, he'll do it. And let's see. Jordan says 2 years of rent in New York City and you'll hold his nose. So
yeah, because I want to know. It's like the Grinch probably does he have an asshole? Like I don't.
He must. We didn't see it, but it's probably bared under all that fur. If you go, he's got poop.
So I could probably just like fake it till you make it. I don't have to go like for the nucleus of the asshole. Like I could just like eat around it. Maybe like
eat around.
Yeah.
No, you eat around the asshole.
Yeah.
I'll just stick my Foonfingler into his Fangfongler and then kiss his Boon Bingler and make him squirt Bing Bongler.
So do you think he's shitting out glass?
I mean, glass has to.
His stomach acid must be pretty strong if he's eating all that toxic waste.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. I want to know so much about the anatomy of
the Grinch.
Yeah, where's his dick? He's not wearing pants for most of the movie. Where's his fucking dick?
We certainly know that he's got stuff going on in there.
Oh yeah, because he's after the credits roll, he's banging the shit out of Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene, Who.
Yeah.
Who's must have. I guess I guess he's not a Who, so I guess he has a different anatomy than them.
Honestly, I think I'd rather fuck the Grinch than any of the Who's.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
But wait, would you rather fuck the Grinch or Mike Myers, the Cat in the Hat? Yeah, this is a...
Guys, let us know in the chat.
Yeah,
Would you rather fuck the Grinch or Mike Myers, Cat in the Hat?
I think
Grinch,
Mike Myers...
That's the easy answer.
I feel like Mike Myers is the Cat in the Hat. Well, one, he's probably cleaner because, he's just a cat.
Ooh, Mark has a really good question that's very relevant to this. Is the Grinch circumcised or uncircumcised? There's no way. Who's performing the surgery?
I feel like all the Who's are uncircumcised.
I feel like all the Who's are circumcised, and the Grinch, being the odd duck, is not circumcised.
I feel like they circumcised.
No, I feel like he's pissed because he's circumcised.
That's why he's so mad. Is he's like, you cut my dick off.
I feel like they circumcise the noses, and then that's like.
Yeah, the noses. They're born with nose foreskin. They take off.
Yeah, it's also weird at the end when the mayor is like, "Oh, we listened to this little girl who hasn't even grown into her nose yet," and it's like, so wait, is their disgusting, demented noses like a point of like pride for the Who's? Like,
just keep going.
Yeah, no, I was like, Like, do they like take pride in the way that they look? Like,
I mean,
If they
I
do,
guess
that's
it's
so
kind of the
upsetting.
same thing of like, are you proud of the fact that hair grows on your balls?
absolutely.
No, I wish they didn't grow there. If I could, like, I don't mind the stuff around, but if I could have a hairless dick and balls, like the legitimate parts, mwah. Mwah. Speaking of which, I'm going to enter my wife later. Super stoked about it.
When was the last time this happened? Because it seems like it must have been a very
It's
long
been
time.
10 days, and I'm not okay. I'm not.
I was
Are you
like,
on like
have
a
you not
Christmas
done it since
advent
you got
calendar?
married?
No, ironically, I gave up weed, and then sex went out the window with it. No, it's just like we've been very busy.
Decorating for the Christmas down in Whoville.
Yeah. Trying to get our Christmas tree just right. We had to give up sex times. Okay.
Yeah. So, I guess we've got over all of the horny details, the grossness, the would you rathers of this movie.
So
I guess we're coming up towards the end, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's skip a break here. We'll do plugs at the end. Let's talk real quick about some big industry news that happened this week. I mean, you know, we cover news here occasionally, and there's some talking points, but this is a huge one. HBO Max had announced, I think, last week that every movie that Warner Brothers is releasing in 2021 will be releasing simultaneously in theaters and on HBO Max. And the film Twitter, like, fucking exploded. There was, like, mass suicides everywhere. Like, it was pretty rough out there.
Yeah, and can I just say, I hope the first to go is Christopher Nolan, that fucking asshole, for forcing them to release his stupid, shitty movie in a pandemic,
Oh, yeah.
making no money off it, then bitching about this. Like, this
Let's be
is
clear.
exactly what they want to do.
This is his fault. Like, this wouldn't have
Yeah.
happened if Tenet didn't lose, I don't know, like, what, $500 million?
I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily his fault. I think they were just using that as like, well, this isn't like Wonder Woman or something. Let's
No,
let's test the
He
waters.
was very
on.
adamant about putting this thing out in theaters only.
Yes, in theaters only in September, when, like, things, like, clearly were not okay. Like, if he was like now being like, hey, maybe we should release it, like, in January or February, like, they could get, like, a decent release. I don't think it's going to make them that much of a profit, but it wouldn't
No,
have
I think
bombed spectacularly.
what I will say is it made way more sense to release in September than now when we're in the heat of the second wave. But regardless,
No,
it's
but
just
I'm-
not a
I'm
good
saying-
idea to say.
We're about to get a vaccine. By February, we're going to have a vaccine, and people will, rightly or not, feel comfortable going back to a theater. So that would be the time to start doing this. But when you lost the studio by bullying them single-handedly into releasing your movie at the stupidest point possible, yeah, I don't understand, like, why he's now pitching a fit. Like, this is his fault.
I think it's because
Yeah.
they did not consult the filmmakers behind these movies,
Which
or
is
Warner
fucked up,
Brothers,
yeah.
that they were doing this. Because you gotta imagine they're probably like, you're gonna take a loss on these movies either way, releasing during this time frame. But it's like the fact that, like, they're just like, all right, now just being put on HBO, like, there has to be some sort. You're gonna be taking a lot more of a
Well,
loss.
do you have to pay extra for them on HBO Max?
No, they are.
Yeah, that's why it's like they're already just free
Oh,
available.
that's weird.
It's weird, but it makes sense. I mean, like, look, this is a thing that's going to cost them a lot of money in 2021, but what we're going to see year over year are these, like, very loyal subscribers to HBO Max because of this year. Like I understand why people are like, you know, like, this isn't going to pay off in the long run. I completely think they're wrong. Because even going forward, after we abandon this deal and we're not doing every single movie, if there's a chance that, like, their slate will have, like, 5 or 6 big movies maybe, like, releasing day and date on HBO Max, you're going to keep people around. Like, this will pay off for them, and then it will also pay off for them when they inevitably have to raise the price point of HBO Max. I completely get why they did this. I also think everyone needs to calm the fuck down.
Yeah, I mean, I
It's
think
not
it is.
the end of movie theaters.
No,
it's
it's the
not-
end of
no.
It's the end of AMC and Regal. Let's be real. Like, they're not going to survive this. They're already bankrupt. That's done. And let's face it, that's the worst way you can watch a movie, is going to an AMC or a Regal theater. They're garbage. They're poorly calibrated projectors. The screens are always fucked up. The sound is always fucked up. There's always a group of fucking teenagers that like the 15-year-olds running the place don't want to kick out for screaming throughout the whole thing. It's the worst way you can watch a fucking movie. And I mean, like, I love movie theaters. I really, really do. I miss going to them, but I don't miss trekking out to a Regal to try and tune out like 5 assholes screaming through a movie while looking at like a shitty quality thing. Like if you go to an Alamo Drafthouse though, like every movie looks gorgeous. They take care of their shit. If someone talks, they kick them the fuck out. That stuff is gonna survive because they don't have to just run new release.
They're also
movies.
like well curated that like it's not just like oh you go to a place to see a movie. It's like they play stuff before it. Like they make an event out of any movie that you're seeing. Like they make it fun. Whereas like I feel like that's the thing. Whereas like these like more corporate chains that are like dependent on these giant tentpole studio movies as for their yearly revenue. They're certainly not going to survive. But I think that like. Because, look, independent theaters, like the Angelica Film Center, Jacob Brothers, they're not counting on Warner Brothers movies.
Right, exactly.
So,
and the people who support those theaters, which is, like...
me and...
us and the elderly, like, we'll still show up. We'll still go.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Although the one thing I would say is, I mean, I guess I don't know if this is the consensus that we just said or not, but, like, this is also not like a forever thing. They're not going to just put every movie on HBO Max for free.
There was a part of me that I was thinking, I was like, but if they put this out and it's like a successful thing for them, it's like, what are the chances that they're going to then put the genie back in the bottle, like basically like take away this thing that they've already shown is possible, just to be
They'll
like
still show other things on HBO Max. I mean, isn't the Snyder Cut coming out this spring?
Yeah, it is.
I mean, there's still going to be exclusive stuff, but at the end of the day, they're not making as much money on any of these as they would nickel and diming every single person they can.
Yeah, and I mean, let's talk about this too, because like it is such a ridiculous price point to get into the movies. Like, it's worse for us. We're in New York. To see an IMAX movie, it's like $25 a ticket, which is...
I don't see IMAX. No, I don't pay for that.
Neither would I. Yeah, of course not. It's bullshit. I mean, I had the AMC A-list, and so I didn't have to pay extra for it. So fine, I would do it then. I don't think it's worth the 100% increase in price. They're not good companies. They're certainly not pro-consumer. I don't understand this like dick-sucking attitude from like all these film fans who are like, what are we gonna do without them? Like, they haven't cared about you for years.
Now, I think it's more of just the idea that like it's not that anybody cares about like the well-being of Regal or AMC because of like they maintain the integrity of the theater going experience. I think it's just because it's like if they stay successful, then that allows for other chains that are more loyal fan base and
it means going to the theater becomes more accessible because let's face it, as much as we love Alamo Drafthouse, there's like 7 of them.
Right, but they will have a much better chance than a new market that's not dominated by Hollywood
They will have
movies.
a much better chance, but there's a whole country and people that love films that maybe have to deal with their local AMC or can't get up to Yonkers or to Brooklyn or,
No, of course, but I'm saying like they'll have the opportunity to open more locations. I honestly think that like smaller chains like Alamo Drafthouse stand to make a lot of money from this. Because they're going to be the only game in town because they don't just show the new releases. They have in these small areas that they exist. They've cultivated a small community of film lovers that will come and support their shit. Do you know what I mean? Like AMC and Regal haven't done that. They've done screenings of older movies sparsely, but they haven't done it to a point that sparked a lot of interest in the general audience. But like these smaller communities and I don't think we're going to be seeing, massive megaplex-sized fucking Alamo Drafthouses or anything, but I think we'll have a bunch more smaller locations based off of a lack of competition in the market.
Yeah. I guess time will only tell. All I'll say is I'm very excited for Wonder Woman this Christmas.
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
That's my present to me.
I'm
going to get my free month of HBO Max, and I'm going to...
Oh yeah, what's the big HBO Max movie coming next year for you guys?
I was gonna say, I was like, what of these movies, like, given that it's safe to go to a theater, like, which of these movies would you go to a theater for?
I would see Dune in a theater.
Literally Dune and nothing else.
Yeah, I'd say Dune because it's like that's a movie that's like it's big, it's long.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather be stuck in a theater than like in my living room or like in my bedroom, like where there's more distractions. I can't get as immersed.
I don't know if I'm dying to see the Suicide Squad in theaters.
No,
but-
I'm more than happy to watch that on HBO Max.
I
Maybe
feel like the
Godzilla versus Kong, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like the only other one that I would probably want to see in theater might be In the Heights, because that one is like, big musical on big screen. That could be fun.
I
don't
like that,
remember
but I'm
all
more
their
than willing to
releases.
just watch
Yeah,
that
I
at
could probably
home.
work at home. I feel like the types of, like, if going forward, like, if they decide that, like, there'll be some types of movies that'll be, like, day and date on HBO Max and in theaters. I feel like stuff like Tom and Jerry, where it's, like, for kids, where it's, like, if you don't want to schlep your kids to the theater, just, like, if they're at home, you can watch
which, by
it
the
there.
way, a favor to fucking everyone, not taking your stupid kids to the movies.
I thought you were going to say for not taking your kids to see Tom and Jerry because it looked bad.
It does look terrible.
It's going to be the Scoob of 2021, and I'm going to be, and I'll be
Chloe
watching
Grace
it.
Moretz. All I've got to say is, I just need fucking Universal to buckle and just say they're gonna release No Time to Die on streaming, so I don't have to fucking worry about this movie moving again.
Yeah. Is it Universal that has it, or is it Sony, or is it? I don't know.
Universal. Universal bought it from Sony.
Okay.
I am curious to see how that pans out. Do you think we're gonna see another sale? Because I have a feeling that streaming service might buy it. If it misses its next release date, I really think that's it for it. But I've said that like 3 times. So
I don't see how they can make their money back on this movie.
Oh, they already can't. I mean, you
Yeah.
can't have a 3-year-long marketing campaign and it be a successful movie. Like, look at what happened to fucking, what was it, Shutter Island? That movie was advertised for like 5 years, and then
or New Mutants.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think New Mutants had a lot going for it, but like a Scorsese, Leonardo.
I mean,
DiCaprio.
I'll be honest. At this point, I don't know if No Time to Die. I mean, the last James Bond movie was what, 5 years ago? Where's the massive audience for that? It's not like everyone's talking about Spectre years
I mean,
later.
right, but I
the
mean-
thing is that Bond became a $1 billion franchise with the Daniel Craig iteration. So I feel like there was like, a big market to cash in on it. It's just that like the movies take like 5 years to make, and every other one is bad. Like,
Yeah,
that
I'm
makes
ready
sense.
for them to just get cheap and be one every 2 years. Also, Matrix 4, I guess I'm kind
Matrix 4 is coming to HBO Max.
of feeling this year, although I'm more excited for John Wick 4. If they still have the plan to release them on the same day.
Weirdly, I think I'm most excited for Mortal Kombat.
is that a movie or
Yeah,
like a series?
that's interesting.
That's a movie. That's
Okay.
a full-blown movie. They finished
And
shooting.
it's coming out like January, right? February? Spring.
I think it might come out by like March. Yeah, by end of March, I'm assuming it's going to be out. I've heard some stuff about this that I can't officially talk about, but I've heard some really good things. Not as far as story goes, but as far as fight stuff goes, really
yeah, I
fucking
was gonna
cool
say
shit.
video game adaptation. Let's not hold our breaths for whoever
Hold
plays
on.
Scorpion
How about
winning the
Nathan Drake
Oscar.
holding on for Uncharted? Did they show the trailer? Because Tom
No,
Holland
they
did.
didn't.
Tom Holland did a presentation at the Game Awards where he's like, "I'm so excited to play Nathan Drake in Uncharted the movie."
As soon as you all see my newest movie, Chaos Walking.
Yeah.
Guys, before we wrap up this segment, I want to just read Cody here in the chat. He's also the editor over at rmroulette.com. Be sure to check out his blogs. He's fucking crushing it over there. And Mike has been also crushing it editorially. You've got some articles up there. You've been also doing such a great job. rmroulette.com. Please make it a habit. All right? 2 or 3 times a week. Go check that fucking site. There's new stuff. We're always updating it. But Cody used to work for a Regal theater, so he in the chat said, "I am evil laughing at Regal, parentheses, my former employers. They paid so much money for renovations and shit, buying every theater brand new projectors right before the pandemic. Independent theaters also have the virtual cinema deal if you know where to look, so they've been having some, if minimal, income," which is a good point, that virtual theaters could still exist in a new marketplace like this.
Yeah, and also, I have to imagine that there probably has to be some sort of Schadenfreude on, like, these massive corporations that, like, dicked you around for years, and they're, like, probably gonna go under because of this. I don't feel the same sort of animosity towards iPic because I'm like, I still wish I had the job, but...
Yeah, and also iPic is not, I don't think, exemplary of the problem. what I will say, as expensive and ridiculous as iPic is, the actual movie watching experience is pretty good.
Yeah, it's like what they like tout themselves on.
Yeah, I don't care if they're selling us $30 burgers during it. I went to go see Spider-Man Far From Home there when I got to see it a day early because I'm important. And it was great. And then I saw Justice League also a day early because I'm important. And it was, perfectly reasonable experience aside from the movie that I was watching. Guys, thank you so much for joining for this. Let's get to plugs real quick. What do you baby boys have to plug before we pick our next movie, which we already know is Venom?
Yeah, I'm Jack Patterson on Letterboxd, Jack on 35 on Instagram.
I am RMR Cyborg Mike on Twitter and Instagram. I write for beforethecyborgs.com. My most recent review up there is for Borat subsequent movie film, but I have just submitted a review for what is the best movie of 2020 and nothing will touch it, is Promising Young Woman. The review will be up on Monday, so you can check it out there. Please, I know that this movie will be released like VOD. You're gonna have to pay for it. Pay whatever it is that it asks you to pay to see Promising Young Woman.
Yeah, we will talk about it as an episode. We have all seen it. I saw this. This was the last movie I saw in a movie theater.
Yeah.
I was the only one who went to the press screening at the beginning of the pandemic. I was sitting on it.
I thought there was going to be so much more time.
Whole year.
Yeah, Jack. I have to also thank Jack for keeping his mouth shut during the past 7 months and not telling us anything about it.
Jack couldn't last 1 week with Avengers Infinity spoilers in his possession, but he has done a great job of burying the lead on fucking Promising Young Woman. It is incredible, and
I'm fine ruining Disney shit.
Yeah,
That's
fair enough.
Especially because Lewis cares about that too much.
I if anyone ever wants to hear the story, there was a whole time we went to go see Guardians of the Galaxy 2 when we first moved in together. I lied to him about so much shit that I had heard happened in that movie and got his hopes up.
Okay, real quick, let me explain this. We were looking for apartments together. We were just becoming close friends at the time. We were still in the process. We were driving to check out the apartment that we would eventually live at for 2 years. And you said that there was a post-credit scene from Guardians of the Galaxy 2 with Silver Surfer and Galactus.
Yeah.
And I hook, line, and sinker fucking bought it.
Stupid idiot. You big dumb moron.
And I've not trusted a thing that's come out of your mouth since. It was a betrayal on levels no one has seen.
And that's why I can just spoil things, because he'll never know if it's true or not.
Yeah, it's fair. That's great. Guys, you can follow me on Twitter at LewisJOtero. Follow me on Instagram at RMRouletteLewis. You can also follow my other show, arguably a better show, with Brandon Hardy, Dr. Brandon Hardy, the Gory Picture Show. We just did an episode on video violence, which is my new favorite episode of the show, because that movie is fucking insane. Please go check that out. Also, you can find us on Twitter at RMRoulette. You can follow us on Twitch. Watch these episodes live Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/RMRoulette. Means a lot to us. Twitch is my fucking new favorite platform for putting out our shit. They are the least obnoxious. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube. If you look up Random Movie Roulette, you'll find us. You'll get the edited episodes, edited video episodes, and we are still available in audio form on all podcasting services, Stitcher, fucking Spotify, Google Play, all that bullshit. So follow us, find us however you can. Also, I realized we didn't explain this before. We've been talking about Furbies this whole time. If you're listening to this exclusively in the extra box that we have on our live stream, is a couple of Furbies who are talking and chatting with us the whole time. So they'll come back too. Sonny and Cher. Everyone hates me for this. I don't care. It's going to keep happening. We will be back next week with Brian from Blood Buddies. Talk about Venom. So excited because this has been a long time coming.
We will also be back.
No, we won't, because I have to pull an audible here. I cannot do TV Boys tonight, but I do think some point this week we should do a patron stream for the live Grinch musical.
Absolutely.
Yes. If you guys are down, I'm so fucking down.
Hulu has a watch party option. So.
Yeah. So we'll figure it out. Keep an eye on your Patreons, but we will be back next week with a TV Boys episode for patrons on How Lily Stole Christmas, the episode of How I Met Your Mother from season 2, one of my favorites of all time. So if you want to catch up on that, if you want to watch every episode of How I Met Your Mother up until that point, you have plenty of time. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you everyone in the fucking chat. Cody, Mark, Jordan, you guys are the goddamn best and the only people who I'm convinced actually listen to this show. So thank you, Sunny and Cher, for being our special guests. It was really hard to get through all the agents and red tape to get you guys on here, but boy, was it worth it. Guys, take care, and Merry Christmas?
Happy holidays.
To all the who's down in Whoville.